As part of the upcoming exams, it is important that you need to start learning important questions from IPC along with its CrPC, evidence law, as well as other major acts. So today, I have brought up 20 important set of questions which you are supposed to learn. Okay, very important. I've taken it from the previous years accordingly, and I've just refined this entire content just for the mere sake that you score very well for your exam. That's it. No other intent over here. You have to score very well. And here's a small twist I've bought. Okay, for today's all the 20 questions, I have bought situational based questions. What do you mean by that? I have put my own name and couple of people's name in the questions, and I've put it across. Why? Because I read in the comments and couple of people asked me yesterday that, see Pawan, I learn very better when I use the name in the question and then I learn. Okay, so if your name is there, you'll be able to relate to the example very quickly rather than vague questions coming out. So try to make sure that for the next upcoming days, you are learning for the exam in such a way by putting the name. Okay, put the title of your name and then you prepare for the read the entire question. It'll be very easier for you. So today I'll be just dealing with name based questions so that you'll be able to answer very quickly. Okay, let's start then. Okay, first question. Pawan commits house trespassing by entering Kamal's house at night to commit a theft. The offenses committed by Pawan is what? Lurking house trespass. B, house breaking at night. C is about house trespass. D is about criminal trespass. Very simple. So if I am actually trespassing into whose house and entering, if I'm entering into Kamal's house, so which is that violation? It is basically IPC section 446. That is house breaking by night. Very simple as that. Now remember carefully, you have to learn even the old law as well as new law for your exam. Okay, because they have even High Court of Karnataka or like or any particular examination authority has also not said that, like we are not going to ask old laws or something like that. So you have to learn both. Okay, so it's very simple. What? House breaking by night. Okay, if I'm going to Kamal's house at night and then committing a theft, it becomes under what? It comes under house breaking by night. Okay, section 446 of IPC. Next one. Kamal publicly announces a reward for anyone who kills Pavan. Okay, if Kamal is publicly announcing for anyone a reward for anyone who basically kills me, that is what? That is basically an abetment to a murder. Okay, what is it called as? It is called as an abetment to murder. Very simple as that. Okay, it is an abetment to murder. Why? Because as a proposal itself constitutes instigation under section 107 and 109 of IPC. If I'm publicly telling that, okay, whoever kills him will get an award from me, that is what? That is part of what? It is part of an abetment to a murder. Okay, all right, that conspiracy itself can constitute a criminal act. I hope that's clear for you. Now, third question. Pavan, a public servant, fraudulently alters a government record with the intention of causing injury to Kamal. Okay, so if you observe, I'm a public servant, I'm fraudulently altering a government record. Okay, so what particular I'm guilty of? What is it? Of cheating, or is it a criminal breach of trust or misrepresentation of property? The answer is forgery of valuable security. See, because I'm a public servant, I am forging a valuable security over here. So it is what? It is coming under section 467 of the IPC. A government record is generally deemed to be a valuable security. I hope that's clear for you. Now, fourth question. Which of the following elements is not essential to constitute offenses of robbery under section 390 of the IPC? Okay, first one is what? Which of the following is not essential for a constituting of robbery? Okay, let's see which is essential first. Theft or extortion is essential. Yes. Death or hurt of a wrongful restraint caused or attempted, part of the robbery. Yes, it can be included. Voluntarily causing or attempting to cause hurt. Okay, which of the following essential is not essential to constitute the offense of robbery? It is basically what? Agreement of two or more persons. This is an essential element of dacoity, not robbery. Others also can be included in a parallel way. Remember this. Okay, now the dacoity of necessity as a general exception is recognized under which section of the IPC? Very simple. It is coming under section 81. Okay, 81. Okay, remember section 81 act likely to cause harm but done with criminal intent to prevent or to prevent others harm. That is basically section 81. Now for CrPC based few couple of questions we'll be dealing now. Okay, that is about what? The recording of a confession by a magistrate under section 164 CrPC is considered what? Is it, see, any confession you give before police station, is it considered? No, it is invalid, right? But if you are giving it before the magistrate, it is what, can it be included? Yes, it is part of the investigation. It is recorded during the investigation stage before the trial commences. Seventh question. A magistrate of the first class can pass a sentence of imprisonment for a term not exceeding how much years? For 3 years. Okay, as you're being appearing for this exam, by default, you should be knowing it. The magistrate of the first class, okay, can pass a sentence of imprisonment for a term not exceeding how much? 3 years. All right. Eighth question. In a case where the maximum punishment is imprisonment for 3 years and the investigation is not completed within 60 days of the accused arrest, the Pawan is entitled to what? Release on bail under which section? Under section 167 of the CrPC. Okay. Now, it is also said that charge sheet you have to file within 90 days. There is a particular rule, right? As per the new BNSs and all. Just remember that. Release on bail, default bail under section 167(2) of the CRP, 60 days for offences punishable with imprisonment for less than 10 days, but not less than 3 years. Okay. Now, which authority has the power to issue a letter of request to competent authority in a foreign country for investigation of an offences committed by Kamal? Okay, a magistrate or a court under section 105 of the CRPC for investigation production of documents in a foreign country. So that particular individual is basically in the foreign country, under which section you can basically do further kind of competent authority investigation of a particular offense. It is basically section 105 of the CRPC. Now, 10th question is about a public prosecutor conducting a trial in the court of session is subjected to the control of what? So, all the public prosecutor conducting a trial in the court of session is subjected to whom? It does it come under district magistrate or court of session or superintendent of police? It comes obviously by the director of prosecution. I'll tell you one thing: a biggest ever trick for cracking the prelims exam is by looking into the options, because options very clearly tells you what is right and what is wrong. Now, as per the Indian Evidence Act, let's look into it. Okay, a document is tendered in court as evidence that, if admitted, conclusively established a fact of what? A document is tendered in court as evidence that, if admitted, conclusively established what? A conclusive proof. Very simple as that. It is a conclusive proof where the court must regard one fact as proved on proof of another. Very simple as that. Okay, it is a conclusive proof. In a case against Kamal, the court permits the leading of evidences regarding Pawan's general bad character. Okay, in a case against Kamal, the court permits the leading of evidence regarding Pawan's general bad character is what? Criminal proceeding, unless the character is a fact in issue or previous good character. So, for example, if I am punishable for a particular offense before the court, now court will look into my parallel previous act also, because being an advocate, I was dealing with a just was reading dealing with a criminal case, and at that point of time, when we were actually taking, when we were going in terms of the cross, it was very interesting to know that a new fact was basically introduced by our team, a legal team over there, telling like, your honorable court, even this guy, the opposite, that guy obviously had a previous bad character. He had already indulged in a POSCO act before. So please, he had already the bad character, this one, and you need to even consider that, because there was an instances like this. So that previous act is also needs to be considered. All right. 13th question. The statement made by a person who is dead as the cause of his death is admissible in evidences under Indian Evidence Act as a dying declaration. So, for example, a statement, for example, one person is over here, okay, not over here, not in my room. So, if he's there and before dying, he'll give a statement, okay, which is, can it considered to be an evidence? Yes, because it is part of what? It is part of the dying declaration under section 32, okay, of the Indian Evidence Act. Now, let me just go through a few couple of acts. So, this is something additional information I just want to give it to you in case if they ask you some kind of external acts here and there. You just need to be prepared for it. They might ask, they might not ask also. So, you just need to be prepared from all the angles. There's something additional questions. I feel like anyway you are preparing for the upcoming exams, and if you're preparing for other kind of exams also, this can really help you out. Additional questions, go through it, no problem. So Pawan is prosecuted for the offenses of money laundering under the PMLA. Okay, PMLA 2002. Okay, the burden of providing the proceedings of crime are untainted property rests on whom? The accused. The burden of proof is always under whom? The accused. To prove that what? He is basically, the burden of proof is on whom? The accused. I am the one who's supposed to tell that no, I am not indulgent. You have to I have to bring back all my evidences over there. Under the PMLA 2002, the maximum period for which the provisional attachment of the property believed to be proceedings of crime can remain the force is how much days? 180 days. Very simple as it. Okay. Now, Kamal intentionally and without the permission of the owner access or secures access to any computer network and downloads data belonging to Pawan. So, Kamal intentionally and without the permission of the owner accesses or secures access to the computer network and downloads data belonging to Pawan. So, what is it called as? It is by default hacking and damaging of the computer property. I hope that's very much clear for you. Which offenses under the IT Act 2000 was declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court in the case of Shreya Singhal versus Union of India? It is basically section 66A, sending offensive messages through communication services. It is what? Sending offensive messages through communication services. It is in Shreya Singhal versus the Union of India was basically been was declared was declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court was basically this one, section 66A. I hope this is very clear for you. Section 66A, sending offensive message through communication services. Now 18, the Enforcement Directorate, which investigates money laundering offences under PMLA, functions under the administrative control of whom? So PMLA, which is basically part of ED, they work under which particular department? They work on the Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance. Okay, remember the PMLA, they don't work under the RBI or CBI or Ministry of Home Affairs. The PMLA, along with the ED, they work under the Ministry of Finance as well as Department of Revenue. 19th question. The Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946, from which the CBI derives the powers, grants powers to the central government to extend the powers and jurisdiction of the Delhi Special Police Establishment CBI to any area in a state, but only with the consent of the government of the state. So very simple. So any act they perform, see all the CBI, all the things, they come under whom? They come under this Delhi Special Police Establishment Act of 1946. Remember this one thing. Okay. Now, from which the CBI derives its powers and grants the powers to the central government to extend the powers and jurisdiction of this one in the area of a state, from whose consent they take the consent of the government of the state. Obviously, with the consent of the government of the state only, they'll be able to perform it. But obviously, the central authority has more upper hand in terms of the decision. Okay. For the appointment of the special judge under the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988, the person must be a sessions judge, additional session judge, or assistant session judge. So remember that under the PMLA, it is basically session judge, additional session judge, and the assistant session judge. So why did I bring you this particular question of PMLA, CBI, and all? Because ever since Modi government came into power, there's been a couple of ED investigation, ED, CBI investigation, all couple of happening a lot. I hope if you see the news regularly, it is happening. So what did they ask you in that particular grounds is only my intent of bringing this particular question. Please do learn this across, and I hope this today's video can be really helpful. If you would like to be joining for the classes interested, please do let me know in the comments, and you can also find it in the description. So yeah, wish you all the best. Good luck. Take care. Goodbye. And yeah, thank you so much. Have a great day. I hope today's class was of helpful. Practice as much as questions, as much as mocks. If you have any doubts, let me know in the comments. I hope this can really help you out. Thank you.